that car 15 years ago. Found it at an airport outside of Charlotte Douglas Airport. I've done so many things in this town, and the only thing that gets remembered is something written down by the government. Let me know when you're in here. Let me know when you're in here. Had a live stream going earlier. I'm going to explain to the people that don't understand everything that's going on. And I want you to ask me questions. Yeah, I'm driving and on the phone. But as you see, I ain't looking half the freaking time I'm on. So, in North Carolina, you're allowed to drive with your phone in your hand. Not a law in North Carolina for all the people that, oh, you're breaking the law. What's happening to me is happening to thousands of other Americans. We're under spiritual attack. Usually you'll hear in the news, man shoots family, went crazy a month before, no drugs, alcohol in his history. Woman decides to kill her children, drives in lake, murders all three. Or the one in California where the man took his two children down in the middle of Mexico, in the deserts of Mexico, killed his children, came back and said they were lizards, they were demons, they were aliens of some kind, and I had to kill them. These are people with V2K that don't even know it. Sane people like me, who've done nothing to the government. Nothing. And it used to be like when Jesse Ventura had his special about targeted individuals, they say, oh, it was people that spoke out, or seatbelt ticket. Yeah, seatbelt ticket. It's exactly what I got, which is BS. So people will get pushed. You don't have to believe it, but I can tell you things that my mother and father with this program. Think about this. Remember that movie? A lot of you guys are probably too young to remember. It's the Michael Douglas film where his wife was taking his kids and he'd lost his freaking mind. I can't remember the name of it, but it was one of the best movies of the 80s. He was just tired of putting up with crap. Everywhere he turned, somebody was screwing his wife, taking his child away, took his home, just terrorized him until he's like, nope, I'm done. I'm not taking it anymore. With the targeted individual program, you'll hear about the ones who just killed out of the blue, the ones who had a perfect life and just went crazy and shot their families. You'll hear about that. And nobody will understand. Well, it's this program. Because the natural reaction for anyone, if they get voices in their head, is not to tell anyone, because everyone's going to look at you and say, well, you're just crazy. Oh, you need mental therapy. And you'll even question yourself when it's happening. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? I wasn't born like this. I've never been out of my mind. Why are voices talking to me? That's what people will think. So before it's too late, they've terrorized them. They've kept them up all night for weeks on end. That's why for a targeted individual, the number one thing that you can do is to sleep as much as humanly possible. As I told you earlier, if you don't have REM sleep, you are already at a disadvantage. God wants us to rest because He knows how evil the devil is. Just like with this program, I have been hit so hard the past 3 weeks. When I went off YouTube, I was like, wow, maybe if I just shut off on YouTube, everything will be fine. Everything just seemed to clear up. But then I thought, wait a second. The guy, my handler, whoever he may be, took a vacation for like 2 months. It's like they took me off the list. It's literally like somebody took a black cloud and lifted it off of my head. Literally. But then it started to hit again. Think about this. How many people have you ever heard say, every time I get money in my pocket, everything I own breaks down? How many of you have said that? Every time I get money in my pocket, everything I own goes to shit. What if I told you that these people, the federal government, the United States of America, the CIA, working on the ground in the United States to terrorize us. You don't have to ask me to say that. It's happening. Ask Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan. They're having House committee meetings right now about the weaponization of the federal government against the people. They're using psychological warfare on the American people. So every time I get a little money in my pocket, I sold that Chevy truck. Now I needed that money to help get me free. So I went and I bought a couple lawnmowers. I might have had $500 invested in a couple lawnmowers. Boom, my Ranger starts messing up. Just out of the blue, the fuel pump just wants to work, doesn't want to work. And remember, as I've told you before, they know everything you drive. If you leave your home in one vehicle, while you're driving that vehicle, they're at your house messing with the other vehicle. If we're other ones say, get cameras, cameras don't matter because they have a back door. The Chinese sell every one of the surveillance systems out there sold by the Chinese. You buy them from the Chinese Communist Party. There's a back door into every one. And China has given the back door to the United States CIA because China and Russia are now the picked top one of the world. Why? Russia is going to help China implement these programs, but China is going to be the one picked as the top economy because China has the technology to control every man, woman, and child. Well, facial recognition that they tested here in America first and they activated on the Chinese people. They don't have to put you in a jail. They can put you in a technology prison where you can't escape. Because everywhere you go, you have to swipe your card. You want to buy groceries, you got to swipe your card. That's why they're outlawing cash. When it goes straight to a card system, a digital system, they control how many candy bars you buy monthly. They control if you're even allowed to feed your family. Now I'll go back to the obvious since you guys are looking at me and notice there's something strange about me. They have been terrorizing me, not letting me sleep, my schedule up and down. They've even started their electronic warfare on my daughter's vehicle because they know she's going to call me when her car breaks. So then I've got that responsibility. Take that care of this car. Take care of that car. Take care of this car, that car. So they hit my Ranger first. I should have just put a fuel pump on it myself, but there's a switch on calls called an inertia switch, and if it gets triggered, this switch cuts the power to the fuel pump. So I'm assuming that my buddy has a gang stalker working for him again, and they started messing with this switch. Well, they were testing the fuel pump, shorts out the fuel pump, then they charged me for a new fuel pump. They charged me, and the fuel pump's not that old. I just put it in like a year and a half ago. Charged me for a new fuel pump, charged me for the inertia switch, $300 bill. $300 now. At the same time I'm driving my Bronco, now all of a sudden the freaking slave cylinder is going bad. That's what controls the clutch. You got to pump it, and it sends pressure to the hydraulics arm that engages the clutch and pressure plate. So it starts messing up. So take it over there to him. I picked this one up, $300 that I didn't have to spend. Drop that off. He texts me today, hey man, somebody's tightened the bleeder valve so tight, and I don't over tighten things because for some reason my whole life I've over tightened things. So now I just barely tighten things intentionally. So I know it's not me over tightening. I can't tell you how many things I do daily because of what this torturous program has done to me. How it has changed my life. When I walk in the house, I set my boot. Or when you're not awake, yes. I'm not only saying they break in your house when you're sleeping. I'm telling you, I firmly believe, a 99.9% sure, that they have technology that can move something in your house to somewhere else without them even being present. Now you can think that's that Star Trek technology, but everything they tell us in the media has a bit of truth in it. Just like the flip phones that Shatner had, the flip phones, that became true. Weird. But it's like my Uncle Bill, who was a helicopter gunner in the Vietnam War, right there before he got cancer, he was healthy one day, planning his rest of his life. His wife wakes up one day and has a brain tumor, and it kills her near instantly. So then my uncle, he's healthy. He's wanting to plan the rest of his life out. Boom, he gets cancer just out of the freaking blue. I was in there visiting with him while he had cancer because I wanted to be there for him. He was never in my life, but I wanted to be a good nephew. While I'm talking to him, he's like, you know what I don't understand? He said, I can set my keys down somewhere, and 30 minutes later, it's like a leprechaun picked my keys up and ran off with them. Leprechauns. He's talking about little demons grabbing stuff, moving stuff in his own house. The same thing that I've been through. Things literally, you set something down, you know that's where you set it, you come back 5 minutes later and it's gone. That's why I told you that my life is controlled by this program. I take my boots off, I sit them in the same exact place every day. When I take my pants off, I don't leave my wallet in my pants. I pull my wallet out and I sit it in a pillow above my head under the pillow while I sleep, because they come in my house to take money out of my wallet. I hang my keys on the wall in the exact same place. I hang my sunglasses in the exact same place. Everything I do is methodical, because I know if it's not exactly where I put my belongings, it's been moved. Now, I'm not reading the comments. I'll get to it if I get to a stoplight. I seen a comment like 400 years ago. Years ago, it used to be called you're under a spiritual attack. There's a lot of truth in that, but let me tell you this. With CERN, C-E-R-N, CERN, they have broken down the dimensional barriers between us and the heavenly places as spoke about in the Bible. I think that they have harnessed the power of demons now with technology to terrorize not only God's people, but people who aren't Christians. It's a depopulation agenda to begin with. The devil hates us because we're God's creatures. The devil's always been jealous because God loves us more than he loves Satan. Now, if you're working for the devil, you're his best buddy until he doesn't need you any longer. But I firmly believe, because listen guys, I've shown you guys the attacks on my vehicles. I showed you the video of my Mustang in the backyard on jack stands. Firmly planted. I pushed it as hard as I could on all four corners. It did not move. I get up the next day and the Mustang's on the ground. That doesn't just happen at all. So, they hit my Ranger. Those guys stick with it for a couple days, send me a $300 bill, I'll go pick it up. I was like, I have to have my Bronco. I have to have something that I can move things with. I have to have my trailer to make money, because I go and buy things, bring them home, fix them up, and go sell them. So as soon as I drop my Ranger off, my Bronco starts showing its ass. So I'm having to go down the road and pump the clutch. Then I look, and it looks like somebody put transmission fluid in the slave cylinder, which can mess up the fluid and it'll eat the seals out of the slave cylinder. So I take it to them. I was like, hey, I need to fix it. See, there's that goddamn trooper right there. Terror pig. I hate them. See, I got to go to hell because of those. I felt him at the top of the hill. I felt these evil ones. They hide on the side of the road so they can give you tickets, so they can take your money. So what do? I flash. And you know what that pig's going to do? He's radaring on this side, or he's guessing on this side. And then what he do? Then he'll pull out in front of traffic, cross the grass median, pull out in front of everyone else. In other words, he'll break 10 traffic laws to catch one man possibly going a little faster than the average person driving. Does that make sense? So the people that are going in a straight line, going 2 or 3 miles over the speed limit seem dangerous. But the cop who's cutting out in front of traffic, jumping medians, pulling out in front of both lanes of traffic, hammering down 100 miles an hour, running up on somebody's ass, and then going side to side until they pull you over. Oh, that's safety. That's about safety. If they want to slow the speed down on this road, you put an empty cop car in the middle of the median, you turn the lights on, and let it go all day long. Yes, I got another ticket yesterday. Got us another seatbelt ticket because my seatbelt's like this. This is called improper usage of a seatbelt. You see the problem? I can't wear a seatbelt because my shoulder falls out of socket because of the seatbelt. My shoulder disconnects from the socket because of a motorcycle wreck I had. So because of that, I had a trooper follow me into my driveway and give me like a $350 freaking ticket. No, Mossy man, they can pull you for going 1 mile an hour over your own. Well, let's talk about the fun that I had the day before yesterday. I wake up, not from much sleep. I'm in a hurry trying to get something done. I go outside, and if you saw the live stream earlier today, I was all over the place. Could not think straight at all. They're in my head screaming 1,000 different things. Just scream. I can't focus on anything. I've been taking magnesium trying to get my mind caught back up again because Americans have a terrible magnesium loss because they don't put magnesium in their food because it clears up your pineal gland. So I come out of the house and I wanted to clean the back of my truck. And I was like, well, I told the guys at the shop to fix the exhaust. My exhaust falls out of the hanger. I wanted them to fix it. And of course they didn't. So I left the tailgate down. I crawled underneath the back of my truck, get underneath it, and I'm trying to push it up. I've got it hung under there, but I wanted to get a piece of baling wire or a big hose clamp and tighten it on there. So if you guys see me move, I'm fast. Everything I do is fast because I don't have much time. The time my body is awake and I can actually move, I have to get every second of that usage out of my body. My body's a ticking time bomb. After a certain amount of time, my body just shuts down because of the directing energy weapons they use on me. So as I'm jumping up, I'm on my butt, and I jump up, push it forward as fast as I can, and I come up and I hit my tailgate from the side. The metal angle of the tailgate is about that thick, and I just squared it up dead in between my eyes. I heard my nose, it sounded like my nose cracked. And when I hit it, it knocked me out, and I hit the ground, and I'm just laying there looking at the star, and all I see is just black spots everywhere. I roll over, and it's just gushing blood pouring out everywhere. So I just lay face down in the dirt, and then I had to catch my breath, and I'm laying face down, sucking in the dirt that's on the AstroTurf at my house. I started breathing in all that dirt, and my face would just busted wide open. So I knew instantly that I had a concussion because I've had a lot of concussions. A lot. I've been in a lot of brawls. I've been in a lot of fights. I've been in a lot of motorcycle crashes and car wrecks. I've taken a lot of shots to the head. So I got my bearing and just held still real quick. Tina was inside sleeping. And I got enough, I guess, testosterone, adrenaline up to get in the house as fast as I could. I was dizzy. I couldn't hardly feel my feet. I get in there and I say, Tina, I need help. I need to go to the doctor. I need to go to the hospital. And she just looks at me like, what's wrong? I don't want to be bothered. And I just laid down face first on her bed and just held my head. And she's like, oh, and then she looked up. She's like, oh my gosh, because I had a gash. I had a 1/2 inch deep gash right across my face. At that time, the concussion kicked in. Because listen, guys, you don't have to believe a word I say, but I'm old school. I'm old. I'm 48 years old. I'm from the school of tough. Where you get hit, you bleed, you get up. Well, that concussion And I got the cold sweats, and I was instantly, within seconds, my body dumped every bit of moisture and sweat dumped out of my body. I was soaking wet from head to toe, and I just closed my eyes. Got a washcloth, held it on, and she finally, after she did her makeup and her hair, she took the time to do her makeup and her hair. Loved. Gets me in the emergency room. Take me back. Doctor looks at my face. She's like, "Oh my God, you need a CAT scan." So they give me a CAT scan, and this same hospital is the same ones that lied to me when I got in a motorcycle wreck and busted my ribs and broke my scapula. So they said, "We don't see any broken bones." And they didn't see a brain bleed. But wouldn't it be nice if they just didn't tell me anyway? But anyway, see how bad it is? That's bad. It's not a swollen. You see, I got a black eye from it. So it takes a lot more than just a metal tailgate hitting me in the head at 50 miles an hour to stop me. So I dealt with that yesterday. At the same time all that's going on, they're terrorizing my home. They're in the house, moving stuff. Somebody walked right in the backyard and drained all the gas out of the lawnmowers that I just got ready to sell. The Craftsman, which would crank every time I hit the key, won't even crank now. The Bowlings, which I pretty much did a soft restore on the engine, change oil, clean the carburetor. I think I even put a new plug in it. Had it running perfect. I get it on it today, and it won't even click. Won't do anything. So there's a war. You could say a spiritual attack or whatever. Right now, there's a war on. They even started with my daughter last week, pitting her against me, so we'll argue. Because they know that I hate when my daughters are upset with me, because they're my world. So they got in between me and my daughters as well. Had to drive to Winston yesterday. See, all this stuff happens all at one time. I had to take my grandson to Winston Salem yesterday, which is about an hour and 15-minute drive from the house, to take him to the proctologist to check his little pecker out. And I told my daughter that we don't need to go. He doesn't need to get his pecker clipped now. He's still on oxygen. They're not going to do a surgery with anesthesia if he's on oxygen, but her boyfriend won't listen. So another thing that nobody listens to me on. But yeah, yesterday on the way home, after my second or third trip, because I got that brand new John Deere, we put a new carburetor on, a new used carburetor on it. Worked great the first day. It sits outside of my yard overnight. I go to get in it the next day, go to crank it up, and the carburetor pours gas everywhere. Take the carburetor off, clean it, check the float, blow through it. Even put new gas in it, crank it up, put it all back together. It's like 10 things you got to take off just to get the carburetor off. I do all that, and it's pouring gas again. Like 12 different times I took that carburetor on and off, on and off, on and off. Drained the gas out of it, put new gas, drained the gas out, put new gas again. And then finally today I had to buy another new carburetor to put on it. On top of that, the other day, I was working on it because it's pouring gas. I lift the hood up, leave the hood open, a little bit of wind comes through and just shatters the entire hood off the lawnmower. So that's the difference between somebody buying a new old stock, which means it's an old lawnmower with very little hours on it. So now that takes that $1,200 lawnmower and makes it worth, it's still worth more than I'm asking for it, but to a buyer, when they see a broken hood, they just assume somebody abusive was driving it and not taking care of it. So it's in the back of the truck here, in pieces. Everything is going to hell. Then my buddy texted me this morning about my Bronco. Hey man, we wanted to bleed your slave cylinder, but we were scared if we turned the nozzle on it, it's been over tight, and we were scared if we tried to take it off, it'd break. So it works a little better than it did. Just give me $120. more money I don't have. So the money I had $2,000 that I could have taken and done what I needed to do. But I spent money out of the $2,000, so I bought things to make the money up. And now they've cost me twice as much money of what I would have made buying and selling, breaking everything that I own. Why? Because they know every penny in your pocket. They know everything you own. They know everyone you owe. They know every second of your life. They know everything about you. And these people who say, oh, it's your imagination, bullshit. There's people who say, oh, you just got bad luck, bullshit. It's all lies. No such thing as bad luck, and there's no such thing as good luck. The only thing that exists is the devil and God. And evil thrives on evil. You know why? Here's what it means. You've heard of a succubus demon, one that attaches to you and draws off your energy. The devil is the same one. Man, it's real hard to keep trying to do the right thing when you is set up against you. Everything. The houseboat's out. Told you about that. Told you they created a law that says in North Carolina you can't just go out and build you a houseboat to live on now. Oh no. You have to build a floating cabin to their precise measurements and inspections, and you have to get a lease. And there's only specific lakes in North Carolina you're allowed to live on. So the idea of a houseboat in North Carolina now is out the window. You can have a pontoon and take it out, stay on the water for a night or two, but you're not allowed in North Carolina. See, people don't believe me when I say this. They literally create laws to keep me from moving forward. They create laws to keep me from moving forward. There's a YouTube couple, and they're from Fontana, North Carolina. And the guy, he runs a boat marina, and him and his wife live on a floating cabin. They helped me solidify my idea. I already had the idea before they did it, but they solidified what I needed to do. And then they came out and said, oh no, the regulations have all changed. You have to get permission now. You have to get a lease from the government. You pay them a lease to get permission to live on a lake in North Carolina. So any idea I have about getting free, they will literally make a law to stop me from being free. It is an evil, evil world, and I am not a happy guy. So if anybody wants to donate some money to me, I'd sure appreciate it, because I got 2 tickets I got to deal with. One is a speeding ticket where I was not speeding, and another was a seatbelt ticket where it doesn't matter. However I wear a seatbelt, it hurts. My hand goes numb from holding the steering wheel in my truck because of the damage done to my shoulder. See, I can't even get out of it. I can't even get my arm out of it without hurting myself. But that just sounds crazy, don't it? So this is my world. Give me a minute, I'll be right back. So yeah, it's pretty depressing when, because in America, you have to have money to do anything. You have to have money to survive. So every time I work my ass off and build a vehicle to sell, and then they come right in behind me and steal the money that I made, all the extra work. So it's like I'm just making money to give to somebody else. And just think if they do this with every person, because they're manipulating every person in America is being manipulated, whether it be by the news, the psychological operation. Listen, if you guys know Glenn Beck from Texas, the Blaze Media, go look at his program from this morning where he's talking about how the CIA and other NGOs in America are literally using CIA psyop American people to control their minds. They're admitting it. Yes, we have to control the people's minds. Anyway, my phone's dead, and I'm not feeling it. You guys have a good day. Thanks for being here.